Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Joe, for the introduction. I'm very grateful having the opportunity today here at this very nice hall and watching the very interesting video just now on all the possibility of GIS. Those are the power of where. I think that's what we always heard of. So it's really very powerful. If you have the technology, you have the data, the right technology, the right people, the applications is limitless, right? So, however, today, I'm not going to talk about technology. I want to focus on the data. In fact, the objective is really to create more awareness about the need for a future geospatial information ecosystem. So this is really about geospatial information management. And I want to share also the role of the UN, the group known as the UN Global Geospatial Information Management, in terms of promoting and making sure member states has the right framework to manage geospatial information. Let me move to my next slides. So, before I start, some of the work that I'm going to share with you is, I took it from this position paper known as Towards a Sustainable Geospatial Ecosystem Beyond SDI. I'll explain what SDI is later on. I want to acknowledge the 10 co-authors in the paper. This is a position paper done under the purview of United Nations. And it's very important for us to pay attention to this kind of position paper. As a member states of the UN, we use this to guide how at national level, we manage our geospatial information. As all of you seen that geospatial information is the core. There are technologies, there are geospatial technologies like GIS, GNSS, laser scanners, but the information is the core of our work. We want to ensure that the data can be captured, modeled, managed, and delivered in the form that it will really deliver good application at the end of the day. So, getting that out of the way, let me share a few things. The idea of using geospatial information to address the challenges of the world came way back in 1992 when the former US President Al Gore initiated this idea, this concept of digital Earth. So it's not new. Almost 30 years of idea. The idea is really the Earth has many challenges and we would be able to use georeference. I think the keyword is georeference data. And these are map data, these are GIS data to address these challenges. So in 2011, many years after that, UN started an initiative known as the UN Global Geospatial Information Management Unit under the resolution of, sorry about that, 2011-24 to form experts of committee and all the member states, 198 of them, is a member of that. And this committee is responsible to provide leadership, provide a forum for member states to discuss everything related to geospatial information. And this covers the different scientific segment as well, right? The geodesy sector, the geospatial information, the geography sector, land information, and many sectors. So it is an important element in our work that The member states will share information, will help each other, and the committee develop frameworks, global frameworks that is agreeable by every member states for us to look into best practices of managing this geospatial information. And it is also clear that the UNGGIM recognized that geospatial information is a core element to address the Sustainable Development Goal, UN SDG. There are 17 of them, and there are big effort to look at how each type of geospatial information can address the different types of challenges. And this is made into KPIs, and the leaders of the world understand that geospatial information is the core that would address all the challenges. And at national level, some of you may have heard about this term, National Spatial Data Infrastructure. This is also not new. The concept was introduced in the early 2000s, where governments need a framework to manage all the data that we have. So in this case, we are really talking about at national level, be it land information data, marine data, terrestrial data, mapping data, traffic data, all these geospatial data, how do you manage them across the board? Because so many agencies are handling them, are producing them. And then how do you store them? How do you deliver applications, right? So not all of these are done by one agency, one parties, but you need the stakeholders. And of course, this whole framework also includes private sector, academic network, and people come together understanding the framework, who do what are the important components, what are the important elements in order to deliver or sustain a so-called ecosystem where the data can be maintained in a reliable way, in an up-to-date way that will support all the critical applications in the member states. For a state like Singapore, there's only one level, so it's national level spatial data infrastructure. In many other parts of the world, you have different level of spatial data infrastructure. It goes all the way down to municipality. States, municipality, so different level of government will have the different level of spatial data infrastructure. And this is in place for a long time. The different countries has different maturity in terms of spatial data infrastructure. You know, in Singapore, we have our own spatial data infrastructure. SLA is responsible for that. The platform for the spatial data infrastructure is geospace, I think, as everyone knows. And we have a geospace C today. So this has served us well. You know, we have been using this framework to manage our national data. You know, how to define national data is one thing. We also need to be very clear on that. But as we evolve going into future, the question that we have in front of us is that what happened to what we already have? Is it still relevant? Are we still continuing using the same framework? In fact, under UN's purview, a small group of experts has come together, created the position paper that I just showed you just now. Beyond spatial data infrastructure, what are we looking at? What is the ecosystem that can bring us to the future? Yeah? And I'm going to talk more about that today. So, new and emerging condition and the impact to the current spatial data infrastructure. So currently we have something simple. Some member states very advanced in the spatial data infrastructure. Some member states have just started You know? But the idea is we know that this is a good framework that would ensure that we have good data, we are able to deliver good outcome to address the challenges that we have, be it at the national level or globally. But we can see now that new emerging condition, these are the one that has been listed in the position paper that I spoke about. So the location and decision making will become commonplace. What it means is that politicians and decision makers more and more are getting location data or geospatial data as a decision making go-to place, first place. Go to that intelligence to get your answer. And of course, at the technical front, we are looking at more and more new data types, new services that is required. Again, of course, technical advancement like GIS, Esri, Trimble, all the companies evolved, came out with new way of doing things. On the demand side, of course, expectation, more automation, more analytics, and of course, intelligence. It links to the user expectation as well. I think every one of us as a citizen, as we move forward, we are looking at digital economy, and the way we work, the expectations are different now. We can't go to a place and get some data and then make the decision ourselves. We want the solution to be delivered to our mobile phone instantaneously. So the whole idea here is that from the ecosystem perspective, how do we ensure that we are able to support this? And last but not least, of course, organization change. So these are very important points that we have to keep in mind, that to drive us going future, the current spatial data infrastructure, is it still relevant? How do we evolve it? How do we change it to make it more relevant and to meet current and future expectation? I'm going to show you a video. This is really about us in Singapore, what we have already faced, new data sets, a lot of them, and I'm going to play it a few minutes of video to give you an idea that things are moving very fast from the new sources of data perspective, new services. So what you have just seen, yeah, it's really now. It's not really future, but we can do better. There will be more of such data that's coming in, you know, as we speak. So the question is really, are we ready to manage this kind of information going in the future? And of course, today we know the 4 geospatial technology, but how do we integrate these technologies and the data that we have with the eye at the Industry 4.0 technology? There are so many of them, and all of these are very important technologies that can be integrated, can be adopted and adapt on top of it to deliver the geospatial solution that we want to deliver to the user. So bearing in mind, these are very complex, critical integration that we should look into, and again, whether our current national spatial data infrastructure is able to address all these challenges in its original form, right? So we wanted to start to talk about how do we move forward. And the other point is about 2D versus 3D data set. Currently, most of the data sets are still 2D. We are talking about overlaying the different data types. But going to the future, 2D is just one of the many different types of data. 3D data is going to be core. 2D data is going to be overlaid on 3D data sets. And how do we deal with this? Not just outdoor, but indoor as well. You know, outside in and inside out. It's a very complex situation. And of course, urban digital twin. You know, the environment that we live in an urban environment. Again, the different types of data, different format of data, different resolution of data. How do we integrate them to deliver solution? You know, you can't use them in silo one by one. They need to be integrated. The technicality of it, how are these data being prepared to deliver the solution that we want? You have seen part of this video just now. This is really about metaverse, one step ahead. Are we going into that? Is metaverse just in the game world? Is metaverse going to become an important GIS tool as well? Hence the term accurate metaverse that you see here. There is a lot of benefits. So is there a day when we can see metaverse or game engine come hand in hand together with GIS? Those are the questions that we have in our mind. Last but not least, of course, the development of AI impacted what we are doing. You know, it brings a lot of benefit, and then we have to start to think about managing our data to support AI, or using AI to support how we manage our data, vice versa. So why do we need this? What are the drivers for us to look into the next generation or next or the future geospatial information ecosystem? Basically, it's because we have a vision. We have a very strong vision as a country. We wanted our city to be safe, sustainable, and smart, and you know that all the different applications that need for these 3 important characteristics. And I'll show you in the next few slides a few more new applications or new emerging applications that required us to work with the different types of data, different types of services now and going in the future. First is, of course, in the area of coastal protection. You know, the data sets involved in coastal protection, or the data set involved in addressing climate change, is not just a single type of data, not just data from land, data from sea, seabed, atmospheric. The big challenge is, yes, you can use this data in the scientific community, create some solution out of it, but how do we, in a very common place where all these data are ready to be integrated anytime to serve a decision maker? And that would be the role of geospatial information management. These data sets are produced continuously, used continuously. There's a platform, there's an integrator in between. How do we ensure that the value, the pipeline, is in place that will serve the future needs of the nation. And of course, in the area of solar potential study, our transition to green energy, the need of more data, the different types of data are required. And hence, one of the important aspect of the UN unit is really looking into the geospatial domain integration. In this case, we are talking about the terrestrial domain, the sea domain, or the marine domain, built environment domain, as well as the cadastral domain. How do we integrate all the data together in order to serve the different application? A few more example, in the built environment, in constructions, more data are required. In this case, GNSS positioning data, BIM data set, indoor 3D data sets are all required to be integrated. In the robotics area, outdoor and indoor, as another example, that we need to really look into the different data integration. In land administration, of course, the different types of data, high resolution, 3D, point clouds, plus your land ownership data sets, underground, utility, even more types of data are required here. So the position paper actually put this up. I just borrow the concept of the ecosystem. How do you use this to think about what is the framework that a country or a ministry can use? Very complex model, cover many components, but at the center of this is the user, is the people. And then you have technology, you have governance, you have many components. How does all the components interact with each other with the latest technology? And of course, not just that, but there are policies, there are ethical policies, there are legal policies that need to come together, right? So this is a part of the work, ongoing work, that the UN Global Geospatial Information Management team is working on. We don't have an answer yet. It's not a simple solution. The idea here is really to create awareness now that such a model is required. And the work is ongoing. And of course, what is already there today is this framework called the United Nations Integrated Geospatial Integration Framework. This is already there. It's a simple framework, 9-pathway framework, has been shared across all member states as a starting point to lead the different member states to be able to efficiently, effectively manage all their geospatial information across the board at a different level of the government. My last slides, I take the liberty here to maybe look at, okay, in Singapore's context, what should we look at? We are not throwing away the current SDI. It is still there. It is a core. It doesn't meet today's expectation and requirement, but what we should do is you should keep it there. We should build something beyond that, right? As a future geospatial ecosystem with more components tagging to it. And this is again a process that we have to take time to work on, and many stakeholders are required to work together. And that's the reason why I come here, and I wanted to create this awareness, showing to everyone, so that we can come out with a system or a framework that would meet our expectation, meet our goal going into the future. So with that, thank you very much.